So yeah, here we go. This is gonna be interesting. I have never made a YouTube video before, and I'm just feeling this random urge to do it, so I'm gonna do it. This video is about having your ascendant placement in astrology in Scorpio. So yeah, this is for all of you astrology lovers like myself who obsess about this shit all day, every day. It comes up in every conversation you have with people, and you're just always thinking about it. You got the apps on your phone. You always know what sign the moon is in, blah, blah, blah. By the way, for anyone that has an iPhone, download time passages. It will save your life and be your best friend. I don't know if you have Android. If you have Android, then that just sucks so well. The reason I want to make this video is because I feel like it's a really, and I'm going to sound biased because I have it, but it's a really profound, intense, it's a really crazy placement. I don't mean like you're crazy as a person if you have it, but well, might be a little bit maybe a little bit crazy, but it's just a really, it's potent. That's the best word I think I could find to describe it. It's a really potent placement to have. Something about having it on the ascendant, because your first house cusp, it's all about your self-expression. It's your personality. You know, the sun sign is more of your ego. I feel like, yes, it's a very obvious part of who you are, and it is very important, but especially depending how it's aspected, what house it's in, what sign, blah, blah, blah. But that's why I feel like having Scorpio on the ascendant is even more profound than having it on the sun sign. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. You know, that's no disregard to Scorpio sun signs. You guys are awesome, and I kind of wish I was one sometimes instead of a Virgo. Yeah, being a Virgo kind of sucks. I hate on Virgos, but it's just true. Scorpio ascendant. So what makes this place? Okay, so first house is representative of Mars and Aries energy, which is it's a very direct, it's a very blunt, it's not deep, it's surface level, it's right out there for everyone to see. So the first house, it having to do with that Aries type energy and self-expression, it's the most obvious part of who you are. It's right out there for everyone to see. It's just there. You don't have to look far to find it. So when you bring a sign like Scorpio that's very dark, very secretive, very deep, down the murky areas, you know, the things that you don't see, and you bring that to the most obvious placement in the chart, it's like it's just weird. It's crazy. It's you're seeing this person that even if they have a really flamboyant sun sign like Leo or Aries or Gemini, maybe even Libra, I don't know, this Scorpio ascendant can really kind of put a damper on that because it's such, there's just this presence. There's this presence to Scorpio that is unlike any other. You have a strong sense of self. That's the thing. You have a really strong sense of self, and it's not that you don't have insecurities like everyone else, but you don't let those insecurities be shown. You mean business. You exert a power that is really hard for other people to swallow. So literally you can be even being pretty bubbly in the moment, or just kind of being, you know, your typical self. You may not even be realizing that you are coming across this way. But one, just with Scorpio energy in general, it's very black and white, and that's what you're projecting onto the world. So you get these really strong reactions from people and strong beliefs that they have towards you. Like people either really like you or they really dislike you or hate you, you know, just for no reason. But the reason you're getting that is because that's what you're projecting onto the world. The ascendant is what you are projecting out. And it's the perceptions you're getting from people are what you have projected out coming back to you. And those can be really strong. Just like if Scorpio loves really passionately and it hates really passionately, so you're projecting that out. So people are bouncing back to you with like a mirroring effect almost, what you're putting out to the world. So they either really like you or they really don't like you. Just like you as a Scorpio ascendant, you really like things or you really don't like things. It's one or the other. There's no in between. So Scorpio energy kind of keeps me leveled out, kind of, sort of fish. So anyways, back to what I was saying about the whole projecting thing and getting really strong reactions out of people. My biggest advice about this is because it can kind of leave the Scorpio ascendant feeling a little bit isolated and like people just don't like them. And like and you're not even trying to put off these strong vibes. You just, this is your normal, you know, this is just how you, this is your personality. It's your ascendant, it's your personality. um and it can be really hard to swallow for some people because you radiate such a all-encompassing, just I guess energy, if you want to call it that. And so my biggest advice is to know, be aware of what you're projecting. Bring awareness to the situation. Um, because there's three different scenarios with this, because Scorpio is all about power. So you exert a certain power that a lot of people can't seem to handle. Now, I'm just going to say this, and this is a little bit generalized, but I have a lot of people that don't know me very well that I get along with pretty easily right off the bat because they're real, down-to-earth, honest people. Scorpio, even when they're not trying to, we see through superficiality, we see through fakeness, we see through facades, people that BS their way through life. We just see it. And people, when they're around us, they can feel that we see it. And that's a threat to people who live their life just bullshitting people, basically. And bullshitting themselves, even. We see the insecurities that they try to hide from themselves and others, even if we're not trying to. We're not trying to put them on the limelight, but we just have these eyes that kind of really scan right through people. And I get that a lot, that my eyes are like a scanner. Yeah. My biggest advice with that is to really own your projections. And when I say own your projections, I mean know what you're putting out there with people. Own your power, because there are some Scorpio ascendants that really don't, because Scorpio has a lot to do with power, that don't own their power. They're afraid of it because it's so potent, even to them, they just kind of disregard it and they project it onto other people, and then they see it through them, and then they see that you're scared of it, and then they give you a weird, awkward reaction. It's happened to me a lot of times. I'm starting to really own this one here. But you have the other Scorpio ascendants who get a power trip out of their power and really run with it and try to dominate others and control situations and just be really shitty with it, and just that's not cool. It's something that's really important to me, I think, is the co-rulership. I feel like any sign that is ruled by two planets is, they're getting a little bit of both planets. You know, some people are gonna be just look at the Pluto end of it, and some people are just gonna look at the Mars end of it, right? But it's like, well, that's stupid. You need to look at both. Obviously, when you think about Pluto, it's obviously Scorpio stuff, the really transformative, the death and the rebirth, the regeneration, the underworld qualities, you know, all the typical terms we hear. You know, it's nothing you don't already know if you're watching this video, so I'm not going to go into that. But let's look at the Mars end of it, because I feel like Mars rules partially over Aries and partially over Scorp. So Aries would be the masculine representation of Mars, and Scorpio would be the female representation of Mars. So yes, what we're saying here is that Mars has a penis and a vagina with Aries and Scorpio. Yes, it does. I guess that's one way you could look at it. For the dumb impaired. Aries is the more direct and macho. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go do this and be stupid and not think about it. Oh, that's act now, think later. Scorpio, on the other hand, can be aggressive like Aries, but in a very different way. Scorpio is not quick, but it's also not slow. But Scorpio really plots out its actions before doing it. A Scorpio sets a plan. Like, oh god, if you fuck with a Scorpio, man, they will plan and plot out their revenge against you, like, to the dot. they're very exacting about that stuff. So yeah, don't mess with a Scorpio, dude. They will, and even if subtle, they'll get back in you, and that's the Mars energy right there. They can be very um, I guess not competitive in the way that an Aries is, but competitive for probably their partner's love. Scorpio is a partnership sign, even though they're one of those signs that we all think of Libra when we think of the partnership sign, but Scorpio really is the partnership sign. It is all about intimacy. They just want that one true person they can trust and have this just really intimate experience with. And yeah, a lot of that is sexual and comes through sex. That's a big thing with Scorpio. But even outside of the sexual component, just someone that they can really fully trust and tell everything to, and know that this person is not going to fuck them up, basically, because Scorpios have learned the hard way in the past and have been burned one too many times, and they know how people work, they know how they operate. And so yeah, that's very important to a Scorpio, is trust. Now, even though it's what they look for, they really could develop to trust people more. And this is something I've struggled with my whole life, is trusting people. And even if they've given me no reason to, I always question someone's honesty. I always kind of think the worst case scenario before I think the best of someone. Um, there is always, I mean, even outside of that, I have a part of me that does see the best in everybody, but how they're in relation to me, if it's a personal situation, I always see the worst possible outcome, because um, I just had a lot of experiences early on in life and even into adulthood that I've really been burned a lot by people. Some of the people who are closest to me and who you would think would never do those things, but people surprise you. So it's almost, in a Scorpio's life, it's more of a surprise when someone isn't trying to hurt you, and that's really sad. Um, they kind of think everyone's out to get them. Paranoia is a really big thing. Um, Thinking that everyone has these horrible intentions and is plotting your demise, because Scorpio thinks that way because they don't want to be on the other side of it. They don't want to be the one that's going to be taken down and be demised, and they're too busy plotting everyone else's demise. Conclude on your Scorpio ascendant. I know this has been forever. I suck. Not really, because I'm giving you valuable information and you should appreciate it. Not really. I'm just, there's so you can go on Google and find so much on these placements, and that's why I haven't made a video for a while. So I was like, can I really add anything? But having this ascendant placement, I feel like I can, because I have personal experience and I know a lot of people with this one. This is a very complex sign. You're very complex, and there's nothing lighthearted about you. And really, that's one of the biggest things that any Scorpio ascendant should come to terms with, is to accept the fact that they are not a simple person. You are a diverse, complex, and yeah, sometimes complicated person, but that really gives you such a unique edge, and something that a lot of people in this world do not have. And this world needs people like you. So don't be afraid of your power. Don't be a pussy with it. Own it. Own it, but don't dominate others. That sucks. Like, please don't. Um it's a really powerful ascendant. It's really powerful. Um and you can use it to your best interest, and you can really be a healer for a lot of people. out there. Doesn't matter what your field of work is or what your interest of study is. You are going to be the catalyst for huge change in your family, in your relationships, in your work, in your passions. Because you are passionate, you are driven by your passions. You are way more passionate than most, and when you put yourself in something, it's black and white. It's going to happen or it's not. You know what's going to happen and you know what's not going to happen. You know what's for you and you know what's not for you. So, accept yourself for who you are, because that's something I've found is people with this placement, because they radiate such an extravagance, they don't even know how to handle themselves sometimes. So therefore, if they can't handle themselves, they feel like no one else can handle them. And if that's the case, maybe that's why other people can't handle you, because you don't know how to handle yourself. When you can learn to control your emotions and not let your emotions control you, because that's a big thing with this placement. Oh my god, it's so big. Like, we really do go through these things where what would just be a little emotion for someone else just completely overtakes us. It really weighs on us. When you learn to control yourself instead of letting yourself control you, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I think it does, kind of, sort of ish. Then you're good to go. Learn to be in control of yourself and not in control of other people. Stop trying to micromanage everyone around you, trying to control outcomes be to be dominating your environment and have everything going your way, and just let that go. Let that go and simply be in control of you. Know that you control your emotions, your feelings, how you react to things, that obsessive compulsion that you can have sometimes. Leave that one to Virgo. Don't just leave that to them. I should know. I'm a Virgo sun. It's an interesting combo. I might make a video on that, the Virgo Sun Scorpio Ascendant combination. It's because if you look at their glyph, it's really interesting. But yeah, that's a whole other video. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up, and hopefully this wasn't boring. Don't fall asleep. That would suck, and I'm sorry if you did. Um, I hope you got something out of it. I enjoyed making it. It was nice to actually talk about these qualities that I have. If you're a Scorpio ascendant, something tells me you have them too. Enjoy.